Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and welcome to the City of Glass. We're here today playing the closed beta for Mirror's Edge Catalyst over on the Xbox One. I gotta say, guys, wicked impressed with what I played of the beta so far. It just really exceeded my expectations. I didn't know what to expect, I should say, in regards to what they were gonna do with Catalyst. But a part of me was really hopeful that they could pull together a proper sequel for Mirror's Edge, which in my opinion is one of the greatest games ever. Honestly, I loved Mirror's Edge so much. It took an idea that I think a lot of people would have said this simply won't work, and it made it work, and it made it incredibly satisfying and addictive. And I fell in love with the time trials, and I played way too much of that game. I was hoping that everything about Catalyst would make me want to do the same thing. It would be able to grab a hold of me and simply not let me go. And I have to say, already, I don't want to stop playing the beta. The beta's going for 4 days, I believe, and I'm probably going to just play it to death. And most of that is going to be me just free running in the open world, just having a good time. And I think that's an important thing to mention, is it's very clear that the developers understand what made Mirror's Edge special in the first place, and that was its free running. They've stripped away all the nonsense like firearms, and they've taken free running, and they've used it to influence the combat. They've used it to just make it, you know, Mirror's Edge, simply put. So let's actually pop up into the map here to get an idea of just how big the area the beta takes place in actually is. Now, This is a pretty large area, actually, and to get from one side to the other takes a bit of time, but it's also really enjoyable, thanks to Mirror Edge's free running system. One thing to mention, though, is that this is just one area, and if we scroll over this way, you'll notice that there are collectibles that exist in these other areas. You can, in fact, go over here in the full game, I would imagine. So that's wicked exciting, knowing that this is going to be a much larger world than I think a lot of us initially recognized, or a lot of us knew. I didn't realize they were going to go this open world, and there was so many people saying that the game, it's not open world. This is why this is a good thing. It's pretty damn open world to me. You know, it may not be open world by your definition of open world, but this is a proper open world sandbox area, and if there's more like this, it's just going to make me even happier. And they're filled with these wonderful little activities. So not only do we have player-driven or player-created time trials, we have dashes, which are essentially time trials created by the developers, which again can be used to compete against other players, your friends, and on the global leaderboards. We also have delivery missions. There are smaller objectives like the security hubs, which have to be knocked out. And I imagine as you play through the game, as you play through the full game, you'll unlock more things to do, because already in the beta, I went from having like one thing to do to having 5 things to do. So I like what they're doing with these open world hubs. I like the way they're handling them. And my favorite thing about it at the end of the day is that you have to run from each place to the other. And what's the best part of a Mirror's Edge game? Well, it's the actual actions that occur while getting it from point A to point B. It's the free running stuff. So this to me is just a free runner's paradise, this sandbox. And knowing that I can just sit here all day long and not actually do anything and just free run from, you know, this marker to that marker makes me really damn happy. You know, like I said, I think the developers recognize what's so special about Mirror's Edge, and they've just taken that to heart, and that means a lot to me. But there is actually a lot of stuff to do in the beta, so we're going to do it. We're not just going to run around. We've got delivery missions. Like I said, we can go knock out some of these security hubs. We've even got a couple main missions, and we also have some basic runner kits that we can pick up. Now, runner kits drop whenever you complete a certain objective. So maybe you capture or collect a certain number of electronic parts in a certain hub. A runner kit will drop for you. Well, what's in these runner kits? Well, how about we just go find out? How about that? We go find out, and on the way there, I will show you guys a little bit of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Now, I have to say, in terms of the movement, it's Mirror's Edge. You know, if you played the original game, you're going to feel comfortable. There are definitely some new systems to understand. For example, if we hold right trigger, we can use our focus, which is going to allow us to build up focus energy, which you will actually have to use for certain abilities. Let's go ahead and disable this real quick. Like the Disrupt, you'll notice that that meter completely got burned away. In order to use Disrupt, I actually have to use my focus while free running in order to boost that up. You can also use focus in combat, which allows you to just do dodges and essentially be more effective in combat, which I will definitely show you guys later. Like I said, first and foremost, let's make our way back to the hub here so I can pick up these runner kits and show you guys what they're doing with them. You have to remember that it's not a co-op game. You know, they're not planning on doing any sort of direct multiplayer. They're just not doing that. What they're doing instead is they're trying to give you a lot of social interaction elements, ways that you can interact with other players while still only existing within your game. So let's go ahead and pick up this kit. We got a basics runner kit, and we unlocked a player tag emblem. Well, what do you do with that player tag emblem, you're probably asking? Well, let me tell you. If we go ahead and look at our progression here, number one, we can toggle and we can take a look at our player echo. So Faith has an echo. This echo shows up in time trial events when other people see your character in front of them. So specifically your friends will see this echo. Sadly, it's not showing up right now. Let's see if I can make this work. There we go. There's our echo. So I'm running the Chaos Lines Red, which is rewarded for completing in his bad book. So this is one way in which you can customize and then express yourself in other players' games. Now, the other side of it are these billboards. Let's find a billboard. Where are the good old billboards at? I know you're hiding somewhere, billboard. I think we got one up here, don't we? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm really bad at finding billboards when I need to showcase a billboard. Okay, I'm really bad at finding billboards. Anyways, let's just pretend that didn't happen. There are billboards that you can find out in the open world that you can hack. Hacking a billboard will remove the advertisement of whatever corporation was advertising on it and put your emblem on that billboard. So you're going to be able to customize your emblem. I think they're doing it through a companion app and probably through a website as well. And then that emblem will show up on the billboard. Now that billboard has the opportunity to show up in the world of your friends. Yeah, right? I like that. I hope you like that because I'm really on board for that. I think that's absolutely fantastic in every sense of the word fantastic. And I really like what they've done with that. Let's actually set a waypoint here. Like, you know, I like that they are willing to try and express some form of social interaction between the players outside of an actual co-op or, direct player versus player interaction mode. I dig that. A part of me really wants to just roam the City of Glass with my friends and just have fun and, do parkour chases and stuff like that. And I hope that's something they consider in the future. But I will settle for these little wonderful interactions. I really like what they've done with that. So there's a player time trial that we could just play on the fly. We've also got a fragile delivery mission that we could do, but I have to say I'm actually going to avoid that. Yeah, everybody should fear Dogen. Bite me, lady. Dogen this, Dogen that. So there's actually one of those billboards that I was talking about. That's my emblem. It's the default emblem for the beta, but eventually you might run up to this billboard and see your friend's emblem on it and be like, oh, dude, Tony was there. I love that. Like, that's so cool, I don't know, there's just something really nice about that, and I would love if there were even more ways to influence other players' games in that manner, but I think that's the only way they're doing it, or at least that's all they're talking about in the beta right now. So, let's just do some free running, make our way over there, get some airtime, really enjoy the system. The game is running at an unlocked 60 FPS right now, so I guess while we're traversing over this way, we should talk a little bit about the visuals. I am playing on the Xbox One, you have to remember that. On the PC, you're pretty much going to be good to go. Now, it's unlocked, but most of the time I would say it is staying at 60 FPS. Really, the only places in where I've seen substantial drops are during the in-game cutscenes. The game just really can't seem to handle it there. But I think the more concerning thing that we have to talk about regarding the Xbox One build is that it is clearly not running at anything above 720p. So let's just kind of stop and look at the world for a second here. Now, I'm not going to deny this is still a very beautiful looking game. I think it's a very striking looking game, much like the original Mirror's Edge. I like what they've done with the colors, the color palette. I think overall it looks beautiful. But it's clear that this build here on the Xbox One is suffering from a low resolution. This definitely looks like 720p. There are a lot of jagged edges. There's a lack of clarity in the textures. There's probably some great textures here, and I've seen the PC version. It looks amazing, but it's not showing up on the Xbox One because the resolution is absolutely piss poor. And frankly, it's unacceptable. Now, the only real positive that we can talk about moving forward is that they just delayed the game further. They've moved the release date back once again, which means that they should have additional time to layer on the polish and improve the resolution for the Xbox One. If they don't, that's going to be really upsetting. I plan on playing it on PC, but honestly, if you own an Xbox One, you shouldn't have to deal with a 720p version of a game in freaking 2016. It is unacceptable. We know the Frostbite engine can handle this sort of thing. We know it can do well. They need to make it happen, and I really hope that that's what that delay was actually for. The developers have claimed it's because social features aren't working they want them to work, but I don't believe that for 1 second. And having played the beta, I think it's very clear what the actual reason was. So that's all I'm going to talk about regarding graphics. I just want to get past that at this point, because I know it is something people are concerned about, and I do agree. This is unacceptable. We definitely deserve better than this, but that's just the way it is right now. So let's figure out how we're going to get around to that side. We should be able to make use of this. This is one of the new elements inside of the game. There are poles like that on the sides of buildings. You'll also find them in small rooms and areas. Basically, it's a way to gain and maintain your momentum while wrapping around a corner, and I love it. It's super satisfying. Feels really, really good. Got a controls chip we can steal here. This is one of several collectibles, and I'm pretty sure that sound effect is the same sound effect that the crowbar makes in Half-Life when you smack into things. That could just be me, though. I've also just realized that I went out the wrong way here, so yeah. We're not actually going to be able to get over to that dash because I'm a nincompoop. Man. Okay, well, what do we got on this side? Actually, you know what? We can just teleport to the dash. No, we can't teleport to that dash because I've never been there. I've never been to that dash. There was also another kid I didn't pick up. Man, everything's just going wrong here. Okay, let's teleport to Birdman's route. I've already been to this one before. The cool thing about dashes is, much like the time trials, that once you discover them, you can teleport to them at any given time. Once you complete them, it'll teleport you back to where you were. I like that because, you know, dashes should be something you can do on the fly. You shouldn't have to go out of your way and like run halfway across the map just to initiate a dash. However, everything else in the game, like primary objectives, even your hub, you have to run to them. I'm okay with that, but I don't know how everyone else is going to feel about that. I feel that this is a game about free running. Make me run. I appreciate that and I respect that, but I know not everyone's going to agree. So dashes, much like time trials in the original Mirror's Edge, are all about defining the best possible route. The game will tell you what the basic route is, how to get from point A to point B, but it doesn't tell you the quickest way. That's up to you to figure out. So let's do this thing. I don't actually know the quickest route to this, but we're just going to give it a go. Oh, that's a huge fail there. Note to self, don't keep holding right trigger if you're attempting... Okay, we're just going to restart that. That was a fail. I appreciate how quick they made it to restart these things. Sadly, the load times on the Xbox One are hit or miss, because it means that you can just really get hooked on this and just do it again and again. Let's go. Head over heels. Come on, we got this. Up and over, along the wall. Probably not the quickest route, but we made it happen anyways. Well, we still made 3 stars. We beat our old time, but that's definitely not a high scoring time. I think the guy who is number 1 is at like 25, 24 now. Jeez. Turbo Yo. That's an interesting name. You'll notice as well that I have a shape next to my name with a number. So you actually get a rank bracket that you're put into. And that rank bracket looks at all of your, essentially all of your times across the time trial events. And then as you improve and you get a better time, you can basically increase your bracket. You know, the bracket that you're in. It's just a nice little ranking leaderboard. We can also add a bookmark. You can favorite it as like, you know, one of your favorite routes to run. You could take a look at a little bit more information here as well. You can remove the bookmark, and you can also look at global as well as your friends. So you can, you know, if you had friends actually playing, you could look at just them and see what they were up to. Sadly, I don't think I have any friends playing the beta, so it's just me. Okay, while we're in our inventory here, ignore the really poor resolution Faith on screen right now. We need to talk about the upgrade system. So in the previous Mirror's Edge game, you just had all of your abilities from the get-go. You ran the little tutorial, and then you had all of your abilities. You could springboard, you could tuck and roll, you could do all of that stuff from the get-go. I actually had to unlock some of these abilities in the beta. You actually get points, which you can then use to unlock anything in any category that is available in red. So we could actually gather intel for the Protector, making us more effective against him, or we could gain a positional advantage, increasing damage for heavy attacks against opponents' back. We also have gear we can unlock eventually, like the mag rope as well as the disrupt ability. I like the idea of this. I like the idea of upgrades. The only thing that doesn't make sense to me is what exists in the movement screen here. There are 19 available abilities. When I started playing the beta, 11 of them were already unlocked. And if we look at them, they're kind of necessary. Free Running 2 gives us the ability to slide, crawl, slide down obstacles. Free Running 1 gives us the ability to jump. Without these abilities, you can't actually play the game. So to have them be actually on an unlock list is a bit weird, and I don't know what they're going to do with the full game. Because if I boot up the game and I only have to unlock 4 abilities, I'm going to feel like they just kind of shoehorned in the idea of unlocking abilities. Because again, the skill roll, the coil, the quick turn, these are all things that were available from the get-go in the original game. And it doesn't really make too much sense to me to have players unlock them now. The double roll run, the focus shield, you know, the extended slide and climb efficiency, those things make sense to me, but really standard free running abilities, parkour abilities, whatever you want to call them, that doesn't entirely make sense to me. So I don't know what they're going to do with this system, but I did want to talk about it. We'll see how it pans out in the full game. I don't think it'll be too much of a negative if it isn't as awesome as it could be. It'll just kind of be like, oh, they could have done that better, and that'll be that. So let's back out. Okay, we're over here. Let's back out of this. That's going to take us to where we should be. And let's actually try and make our way towards this mission area here. So, set a waypoint there. Again, as I said, we really don't have any way to get across apart from going back. But there is a document here, so let's go ahead and grab that. One of many collectibles available in the game. I really want to do is I want to get into combat for you guys, and that's what I'm trying to figure out how to get to here. We need to find a security. There we go. Okay, let's make this happen, guys. We're going to go over that way. This is a very, very sketchy ledge. Let's go ahead and get in some fights. As we're making our way there, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the combat system preemptively. It's massively improved from the first game. Like I said, they've thrown away the idea of firearms, and everything focuses around movement and your free-running abilities and how you can implement those things into combat. One of the things I particularly enjoy, which we may have the opportunity to take a look at this social hub here, or at this security hub, yeah, social hub, the security hub, is the idea that you can actually evade combat. So rather than always directly engaging an enemy, you know, in combat, there are certain instances in which it's going to be more effective to push them out of the way. So you actually have a system in place for that. We will definitely talk about that. Is there anyone here? Hello? Hello? Is there anyone out there? Okay, well then, normally you'd have to fight a group of guys when you got here, and then you're going to go ahead and pull the core out of the security hub. So let's do that. This is going to initiate a bit of cat and mouse, and we're gonna have to run away from Krugersec here and try and escape their grasps. So you can see we've got a VTOL inbound. Let's get out of Dodge. I actually want to run into some enemies at this point, I'm going to be honest, so I can show you guys the combat, so we might try and give that a go. There we go. Oh, that's a lot of guys. Alright, let's make this happen. Okay, so one of the things I love about the combat now is making use of Faith's kicks is actually a huge part of the combat. It allows you to basically control the enemy. You can really kick them into certain positions. You can also cause substantial damage by kicking them into one another. So if I line up two guys, I can actually boot them into each other and cause damage in that manner. Let's see if I can't make it happen. There we go. The same goes for the environment. You can kick enemies into pieces of the environment and cause damage in that way. Now I'm using the right trigger, much like I used it when I was actually in free run mode, and that allows me to shift and sort of dodge enemies and bob and weave. So that's also a big part of the system you're gonna have to get comfortable with. It's also a really good way to close the gap, because you'll notice that once I stun an enemy, they'll get pushed out of the way sometimes, and it is a little bit difficult to be close enough to them to actually initiate a punch or a kick. So you're gonna want to use your shift ability to get closer, and you can use that to pull away from combat as well. So let's try and actually outrun this thing now. Go, go, go. I have to say, I really love the sound design in the game. I'm not just talking about the music. The music is really on point. I really appreciate what they've done with it. I think it's just... It feels like, you know, Mirror's Edge music. I thought the first game had really phenomenal music. It just kind of always kept up with what was going on from a situation-to-situation basis, so the music would keep pace with the pace of the experience, and it definitely does that in Catalyst, but the sound effects... You know, the sound of Faith's running shoes, like, screeching on a really slippery surface. All of that, to me, kind of helps bring together the free-running experience, making the game just feel more alive. And it's, I don't know, it's just a huge addition. I really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and hack this screen. We're hacking a screen inside of our own safe house. Probably not the best thing to do, but we did it anyways. Let's go ahead and grab that other piece of kit. I want to see what we got. I don't actually know where they put it, to be honest. Now, they've got some stuff going on with the NPCs, you know, that exist in the runners, the Cabal here. They'll talk every time, and then, you know, they might say things to you. So we got another player tag emblem here. You know, I think they're making a push for a better story this time around. It definitely feels that way. The first game, you know, I liked Faith. I did. But I never really felt completely hooked on the story and, you know, the faction she was a part of. And I think by increasing the scale of the game, you know, you have Krugersek, you've got Dogen, and now you've got the runners with, you know, the Cabal. It feels more like there's a lot of different factions. You have the Outcasts, too, that they talk briefly about. So it feels like there's a lot of stuff going on with a lot of different factions. And I dig that. I really do. I think it just helps bring the world together, bring the world to life a little bit more substantially. How about we mess about with this guy, whoever Electrofist is. Let's go ahead and see if we can't beat his time here. Okay, use your fist, more info. I don't actually know how you start it, though. That's the only problem I see here. It's not actually telling me, like, you know, where I'm supposed to go. And it just disappeared. All right, then. That's unfortunate. Not sure what went on with that. Let's make our way over to that main mission now. We'll kind of close out with that, I guess. I think I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. I know there's actually a hell of a lot of stuff going on in the beta, and it was actually quite challenging making this video because I just kept forgetting things, or there was something that I didn't really discuss in the way that I wanted to discuss it. I mean, at the end of the day, to kind of close things up, I'm really impressed with what they've shown me here. And, you know, it has me, I think it's done its job in that it's made me really excited for the full game. I also hope that they're going to get a lot of important feedback from this. They're going to be able to really refine and, you know, rid the game of a lot of these bugs and issues that it currently has. And of course, I hope that the Xbox One version here gets some updated, you know, some updated resolution and just overall season and overall performance increase. As I'm falling like a fool. Okay, let's make our way up here. Actually, you know what? One more thing I did want to mention here. Let's see if I can demonstrate this anywhere. They've done a lot of work with the first-person body in this game. That was something that was really important in the original Mirror's Edge. And it's just, I feel like they've done a really, really good job of, like, this is next level first-person body. And a lot of it has to do with the attention to detail. You know, there was an instance where I was here. We should be able to hang off this. Okay, so there was an instance where I was hanging off of a ledge in a elevator shaft. I can't do it on that one, unfortunately. And Faith's body actually sways back and forth, you know? Like, it's a component of the game, and it's affected by the physics and by gravity and by all of the same elements that everything else in the game is. It's not just this stationary animated thing, and I really, really dig that. Let's do this mission with Nomad, though.
Fine, but what is that?
Art, Faith. Art.
Yeah? Could have fooled me.
Funny. Did you just
Check.
come here to crush my self-esteem, or are you up for some actual work?
Sorry. I'm up.
Good. Word is Kruger Arms are developing a new type of drone sensor chip. I'm thinking we should grab one for ourselves, but there's a question of where they keep it.
Somewhere in Kruger Arms, maybe?
You're all wits today, huh? I had a guy working there who promised he'd sell me some docs with the info, but now he's reneging on the deal. So I figured you could just break into his place and grab them instead.
Sure. Shouldn't be a problem.
Cool. I'll send you his address. It's not far from here.
Alright, I did a little bit of breaking and entering. I'm all for that. Let's make it happen.
The guy works for Kruger, but hates his job. He has access to a lot of stuff. Said this sensor chip is a real game changer. But I Guess he got scared of being found out. Hopefully he'll still have those docs at home.
I think the big thing for me, you know, about Mirror's Edge, a little bit of a last minute thing here in closing,
His apartment is on the top floor.
is that the game, Catalyst especially, I feel this time around, is giving you the tools. You know, it's giving you the tools to free run, it's giving the tools to engage in combat. And you could watch somebody play the game who really doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and it's going to look really, really rough. It's going to look like death, essentially. It's not going to look very good. But as that person gets better at the game, you know, and they slowly become a master, and they start to, you know, really understand the mechanics, you know, they can make the game look beautiful as they play it. And that's awesome. You know, I dig that, like, so much. Let's turn our runner's vision on, because I'm not actually sure where the hell they're asking me to go right now, I'll be honest. I'm gonna assume up here, but I don't actually know. You know what? It's a free runner sandbox, is what it feels like. Like, again, here's the tool set. Now make it look as pretty and as awesome as you want it to look. And that's, you know, that's really Mirror's Edge for me. Those are the things that are most important when I think about what I want in a Mirror's Edge game, and they've captured that. I think they've done a really outstanding job of capturing that. So that's awesome. Let's deactivate this fan. I don't know where the fan was, but I think it's over there. Okay, there it is. Okay then. We're trying to envision how we're gonna get up there now. Okay, here we go. This is a bit of a climb, that's for sure. I like this too, you know, again, this is a big bonus of having the sort of sandbox element. You know, we got this more open world area now. Is that in the past, a lot of the cool climbing elements and, you know, like segments of the game in the first game, they were reserved to what was happening within any given mission. You know, they felt, you know, okay, I'm just in this linear, tiny area. I don't know, there's just like the sense of being able to think outside of the box in a lot of these situations that I really appreciate.
On the other hand, I guess most people feel like they don't have much of a choice.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of instances where there's really only one way to, you know, solve a problem or to get past a certain area of the game, but I don't know, I guess at least it gives that feeling that it's more open world than it is. Oh yeah, that is quite a jump. Alright, here we go.
I'm on his balcony, but I can't get in from here.
Try the roof.
Oh, we just killed ourselves. Well, I'm gonna end it there, guys. I'm gonna go finish this mission in my own time. If you're lucky enough to get into the beta, if you signed up and you got in, please let me know what you think of it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You know, is it a big improvement over the first game? You know, what you played? Are you impressed? Are you unimpressed? Is there anything you wish they've done differently from what you played in the beta? And honestly, there's a lot of stuff in the beta. You know, you saw that it just said, I think halfway through this video, I completed the main missions available in the beta, but I still have this one with Nomad. There's still a bunch of stuff to explore. There's a whole wonderful open world sandbox here to parkour and free run in. I'm really happy. I'm really happy, and I'm really looking forward to this game's launch. I hope they can iron out all the small issues on the Xbox One version, but all in all, I think this is very much going to be the second time around that Faith very much deserves. If you guys have any other questions for me regarding anything I talked about in the video or anything you saw, feel free to leave it down in the comments section below, and I will see you in the next one.